I don't know if Republicans have as much of a lock on the future of American society as I thought they did, even like a month ago. Steve Bannon coming out and saying to a crowd full of people, Republicans must seize the institutions now or we are all going to jail in 2028, really gave me pause.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
We've made deals with you before and they've all gone sour because you're evil.
Steve Bannon said if they don't get reelected, a lot of them are going to jail, and they are. We are watching the largest money heist happen in history.
Let the Senate look at it, let anybody look at it, but don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends.
He's your best friend, ain't he?
Them texts between Bannon and Jeffrey, OMG.
The so-called Russia hoax, in which the leader of the coup in the United States insists that he didn't get any help from the gangster oil tycoons who are running Russia. And the so-called Epstein hoax, in which the same guy insists there's nothing to see in the Epstein files, and besides which, I didn't have anything to do with it anyway.
That's a lie.
Are actually one and the same.
This stuff is juicy. I'm just saying, if they think there was no connection, okay.
Greetings, my BPPN family. Welcome to Black People Politics Network. I'm Mr. Red. Tonight, we need to talk about something deeper than politics, deeper than the GOP, deeper than Trump. Because the new emails and messages coming out right now don't just show corruption, they show a network of billionaires, political operatives, Russian-linked strategists, judges, far-right influencers, and the most dangerous figures in American politics working together behind the scenes. Bannon, Epstein, Trump, Justice Kavanaugh, Ken Starr, all connected, all coordinated, all shaping our country without the public ever knowing how deep it went. And tonight, we're going to walk through exactly how Epstein had direct access to the Oval Office, how Steve Bannon used him, how Brett Kavanaugh was handpicked as a reliable operative, and why this entire machine is finally collapsing in real time. We have much to discuss. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
3 days before Brett Kavanaugh was nominated by Donald Trump to be the next Supreme Court Justice, Kenneth Starr was talking to Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton about Kavanaugh, number one, 3 days before. And this message was sent from Epstein. Right. This right here is Steve Bannon saying that's huge, right? Bannon messages back Epstein on July 9th saying, Ken says this guy is brilliant, correct? Epstein says, reliable. He is reliable. Why would he need someone reliable?
Just 3 creatures to do my bidding.
Epstein responds, Chevron, which was overturned in 2024. This is 2018. Chevron. Kavanaugh is reliable. There was already in the works before he was nominated. In response to Chevron decision from Epstein, Bannon says, let's go deconstruct. Epstein says, bye-bye administrative state. I get it. And then on July 9th, Epstein says if Chevron was overturned and Gorsuch voted to overturn it, such a decision would override a case which has origins in an administrative ruling made by his own mother. And Bannon says, pretty epic, huh? And Epstein says, yep.
The bottom line is these people are evil, plain and simple.
Now this is where the story stops being speculation, because these messages are direct. 3 days before Trump nominated Brett Kavanaugh, Jeffrey Epstein, yes, that Jeffrey Epstein, was texting Steve Bannon about Kavanaugh. Epstein says Kavanaugh is reliable. Bannon agrees. They discuss Chevron. They discuss dismantling the administrative state. They discuss outcomes before the nominations even are public. That means this wasn't Trump picking a judge. This wasn't even the Federalist Society picking a judge. This was Epstein and Bannon laying out the game plan for the Supreme Court like they were drafting a fantasy football roster. And when you add Kenneth's Starr connection, Kavanaugh clerking under Starr, Starr helping Epstein get his sweetheart deal, Starr later defending Trump, the corruption comes full circle.
Brett Kavanaugh worked for many years under Kenneth Starr. When Brett went to Yale, he started working as a clerk under Kenneth Starr. Now, eventually, Kenneth Starr, he left the whole DC circuit and he got on the independent counsel where he ended up investigating Bill Clinton. Brett Kavanaugh assisted him in creating the Starr Report. So Starr, he was on the independent counsel that got Bill Clinton impeached, and Brett Kavanaugh helped him write that report. Guess who was on Jeffrey Epstein's legal team when he got that sweetheart deal in Palm Beach? Kenneth Starr. Now fast forward to 2020, guess who was on Donald Trump's legal team to defend him against his impeachment? Kenneth Starr. And guess who worked for Kavanaugh? Usha Vance. Yeah, she was one of his clerks. And if you don't remember when that list of people who were on that plane came out, Kenneth Starr's name was on that list.
This is a political pipeline. Epstein, Starr, Kavanaugh, Trump. And Bannon was in the center like a project manager for America's destruction.
Steve Bannon was the founder of Breitbart News, which he described as the platform for the alt-right. In 2016, he became Donald Trump's second presidential campaign manager after the first guy, Paul Manafort, had to step down when it became clear that he was in the pocket of the pro-Russian dictator of Ukraine at the time. Through his company Cambridge Analytica, Bannon was involved in passing data that was illegally collected from Facebook users in the United States to Russian intelligence for use in the Brexit campaign in the United Kingdom and to undermine the campaign of Hillary Clinton in the United States and to propel Trump into the presidency. He followed Trump into the White House as an advisor until they had a falling out, after which he devoted his attention to developing a network of far-right groups in Europe, again promoting the interests of the gangsters who are running Russia. He was convicted on federal and New York state charges in connection with the campaign to build Trump's border wall, and he served prison time for contempt of Congress because he did not comply with a subpoena to testify to the January 6th committee. All this is background to say that Epstein had a direct line into the Oval Office even after Bannon had left, and that the two of them were working together with Mr. Trump's knowledge right up until Epstein's final arrest in July 2019.
This part should terrify every American. Epstein wasn't just some shadowy billionaire with a private island. He had direct line into Trump's inner circle, even after Bannon left the White House. We now know Epstein was feeding Bannon secret information about internal White House tensions, national security issues, personnel shifts, things that were not public, things outsiders should never have. And Epstein makes the chilling comment, now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends. That is the language of blackmail. That is the language of compromise. That is the language of someone who has leverage over a president. And then, to add more to it, Epstein brags, I am the one to take him down. This wasn't a friendship. This was a power imbalance, and Trump knew exactly what Epstein was capable of.
A message sent on 28 June 2019 shows Jeffrey Epstein appearing to tell Steve Bannon that Donald Trump was aware of their ongoing political relationship. In the middle of an exchange about Israeli politics, Epstein wrote at 10:58 a.m., now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends. Bannon replied 1 minute later at 10:59 a.m., dangerous. The remark, though ambiguous, appears to show that Epstein believed the president himself was aware of Epstein's relationship with Bannon. Epstein had a direct line into the president's inner circle and was passing that intelligence to Bannon in real time. Epstein had told an unidentified associate in early December 2018, "Yes, thanks. It's wild because I am the one able to take him down." After this, there's a whole 2 more sections of the story that are about Epstein's and Bannon's connections to the Brexit campaign and Bannon's efforts to establish this far-right network across Europe, part of Russia's long-term campaign to undermine the European Union and NATO and the United States, so that Russian hydrocarbons can keep spewing out into the atmosphere unimpeded, and the Russian empire can expand, and Mr. Putin doesn't die the same way Saddam Hussein did. These exchanges also show that just before Epstein's final arrest in 2019, Bannon was making plans to shoot a documentary film that would help rehabilitate Epstein's image. They were making plans for Bannon to come and film on Epstein Island at the moment that Epstein was arrested. Y'all, for the longest time, I thought that the main way that the Trump criminal organization intersected with the Russian mafia was through real estate, was through dirty Russian money being laundered in Trump properties in New York and in Florida. And that's not true. But what the Epstein case is making increasingly clear is that there was another business linkage, and it was human trafficking. Those business interests were closely connected with the Russian project to undermine the West and international order and their alliance with people inside the United States who shared the same goals. People who hate democracy and equality and civil rights and a government that serves all of the people.
Now, when you zoom out, the picture gets worse. Bannon wasn't just coordinating with Epstein. He was coordinating with Russian oligarchs, Cambridge Analytica, Brexit operatives, and far-right networks across Europe. This wasn't an American scandal. It was part of a global campaign to destabilize democracy in the West. Epstein wasn't just useful for money or blackmail. He was useful for access, information, influence, and connections. And Bannon used him like a tool. Trump benefited from that influence, and America has paid the price. This is why Bannon once bragged, "We are going to destroy the administrative state," because they were building a shadow government of their own.
So on June 3rd, Epstein texted Bannon, quote, "Prince Andrew and Trump today. Too funny. Recall Prince Andrew's accuser came out of Mar-a-Lago." Bannon replies, "Can't believe nobody is making you the connective tissue." What? Bannon said, "Whoa, ho, ho, why aren't they figuring out that Prince Andrew and the orange felon are a little bit close because of the connective tissue of Jeffrey?" Okay. Now, Jeffrey helped with putting together our Supreme Court. I know, that's shocking. I'm going to tell you how. On September 30th, to help Kavanaugh, Epstein texted Bannon that the Republicans should, quote, "make sure they ask Ford about her medications, what type and for how long. My guess is that Katz won't let her answer." He was asking about Ford, who was sitting there being questioned, and he was, just thinking, hey, I'll help out with the questions for somebody who's accusing because it's worked for me. Bannon replied, quote, "Roger." Epstein responded with a link to a website article claiming to detail memory loss caused by various medications. Bannon asked, quote, "Is this a hint?" Epstein replied, "Duh," and sent another link, this time to a scholarly article adding, quote, "false memories and social anxiety disorder." He also contributed, quote, "She couldn't recall if the lie detector was given the same day as her mother's funeral or the next day." And then he put meds in all cap, MEDS in all caps. On December 18, 2018, an unknown correspondent texted Jeffrey, "It will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that." Epstein responds, quote, Yes, thanks. It's wild because I am the one able to take him down.
Now this is where everything converges. Kenneth Starr, the man who investigated Clinton, the man who helped Epstein avoid real punishment, the man who defended Trump, the man connected to Brett Kavanaugh's rise. Everywhere you look, the same names appear, the same groups, the same agenda. This was a protection ring, political, legal, financial, and global. And now their emails, their messages, their plans, it's all coming out right now. The house of cards is collapsing.
They realize they do not have the actual support of all the rank and file, or at least as much of the rank and file as they need, and they don't have as much support from the officer class as they need to actually get away with doing what they really want to do. And that really gave me pause. But I'll tell you one thing. In the last, I'd say 18 months, I have never seen so many of the architects of our future so unsure of how stable a foundation that they are standing on.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.